pleasure to welcome you to the Summer Institute in Computational Social Science for everyone in the room and for everyone in the live stream. So we found out yesterday that there are more people on the live stream than there are in the room. So that's cool. All right. So the feedback from yesterday. Again, well, first the response rate was very low. So I had to do some non-response adjustments. But the feedback that we did receive was, again, we're into the realm of things where there's a mix. Some people like doing big group activities because they get to know lots of people. Some people wanted to do small group activities or pick their own. Some people wanted random assignments. Some people wanted more time to do coding. Some people wanted more code at the beginning so that they could get to the other parts of the assignment faster. So we're in kind of the state where there's not much we could do to improve it for everyone. So what we're going to do again, today it's going to be a little bit different with the activity. You're going to be able to work on your own if you want, or in small groups that you form. And we'd be happy to help you form mixed disciplinary groups if you want to be in a mixed disciplinary group, but that will be up to you. The one thing that was pretty consistent, and this is a general sense of fatigue and overwhelmingness, and this is something I totally can relate to. I'm exhausted. So what we're going to do is today we will definitely not go over. I promise the activity will start at 10:30 because there's going to be people tuning in on the live stream at 10:30. And the lecture part today will be toned down. I'm not going to try to give you tons of new stuff. So we are aware that there's a lot happening, and we're going to try to tone it down a little bit. And last night I checked, and everyone posted their data and documentation. I was so happy. You all definitely earned your dinner. There was some grumbling about that, but I'm really happy that you all did it, and I hope that's a valuable lesson about the importance of openness and reproducibility in doing our research. So are there any questions about the feedback from yesterday? Yeah?
I was going to say, when we all left, and it was kind of scattered because we were working in groups and things, there was actually a lot of stuff, like food stuff left on the tables. And Chris and Matt actually ended up kind of cleaning up most of it, and a couple others who were kind of around. So I think we could do a better job collectively of like taking care of our space so that other people don't have to do it. So.
Yes, that would be nice. I agree with that. Other thoughts about yesterday? So let's look forward to today. So we're going to have the welcome and logistics now. Then there's going to be a lecture and discussion about mass collaboration. We'll have a break. Then we'll do the Fragile Families Challenge. Just in terms of setting expectations, this is, I think all of you should strive to contribute one model today. And I think you could probably do that in about 3 hours is my guess. So this activity, if you need to step out for half an hour to have a meeting, or you need to do whatever, go for a walk, you're totally free to come and go as you please, obviously. You could work this entire time nonstop and still not be finished everything that you want to do. So think of a reasonable goal as submitting your first model, and the more you want to do than that, the better. Hopefully you're going to get really excited by the project. We may have speaker meetings with the speaker, Marcus, but his schedule is not yet clear. There's some logistical issues that we're still trying to resolve. So if he will be able to meet with you, we'll try to set up those individual meetings again, but that might not be possible today because of his schedule. Then after you'll work on the challenge individually or in small groups, we'll have a group debriefing so that people can hear some about the strategies that other people have taken and the problems they ran into. So one of the things I've seen about this particular activity, many people approach it different ways, and so having some time for us to come together and reflect will be a good way for you to get some new ideas. Then we'll have a break, and then we'll have the guest speaker, Marcus Mobius, who's an economist at Microsoft Research in New England, and then dinner. Okay, any questions about today? Great, and then looking forward, Saturday we're going to do experiments. Then Sunday, you'll have a day off to rest. Everyone needs to rest. Then Monday, then next week we will start the projects. So we'll start the speed dating thing Monday morning, and we'll go forward with the projects. Also, during this second week, we're going to have lunch open talks where you all can come up and present your research. Some of you have already signed up, which is great. If you want to sign up, talk to Taylor. She'll get those up onto the website so that everyone can see them. Everyone can see them. And then also we'll have a series of afternoon tutorials. Some of you have volunteered to give a roughly 1 hour tutorial. It doesn't have to be very formal. Those tutorials are optional. If you want to go to a tutorial, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. Yeah?
We'll do those in this room.
The tutorials will probably be in that room, but it'll all be right around here.
Yeah, and for the research talks, we currently just have an hour, like a lunch scheduled, and there's quite a few of you who want to, so they're about like 10-minute talks with 10 minutes of questions.
So it's just a short way of giving you a chance to talk about what you're doing, giving everyone a chance to learn from what you're doing. Then Friday afternoon, we'll do the project presentations. Also, we may have a visitor from the Russell Sage Foundation next week. We're trying to organize that. Unfortunately, he won't be able to come on Friday to see your projects. Now, are there any questions about the project? Some questions have been coming in through the feedback form. Yeah.
When do the groups and topics need to be formalized?
No specific time.
Okay, so there's no like sign-up sheet or.
Nope. So what we'll do is starting Monday, we'll have this speed dating thing. People will coalesce into groups. You can change your group if you want. Some people have asked, do I have to work in a group? You don't have to work in a group. I think you will miss out if you don't work in a group, but you don't have to. I guess the one thing I would say is you do have to do something during the week. And we will have to, I guess it's kind of obvious. One way, everyone will have to deliver something to us that we can deliver to the foundation to show them all the cool stuff you're doing. So you could do that individually, you could do that in groups. It could be related to your current research. It could be completely different from your current research. It could be with someone from your field. It could be with someone not from your field. It could be anything. It could be something you want to try to publish as a paper. It could be a piece of open source software. It could be whatever you want. Yep.
Which do you recommend, young scholars doing different thing or the similar familiar thing in this particular opportunity?
Yeah. I personally would recommend that you work on the Fragile Families Challenge. No, I would say I would personally recommend. Okay, I'm not saying everyone would agree with this advice. I personally would recommend doing something that's as different as possible from what you normally do. You have plenty of time when you get back to wherever you hang out normally to keep doing what you're doing. This is a chance for you to work with someone that you may never get to work with again, who has a set of skills or interests that you may never have access to again. So I think maybe an ideal project would be, so like you do online group experiments. And let's say there's someone else here that does machine learning. So I think an ideal project would be something that combines both of these expertise in a new way. So in that way you can draw on the strength that you already have in the experience, but also you'll get enriched by some other experience. Now you could also say, you know what, I'm just going to forget about what I do, and I'm just going to join whatever project I think is coolest. That would be fine too. So that would be, my personal recommendation would be not to worry so much about whether it's going to get published, or just, this is a learning activity. And as Gary King said, like, this is the time to learn new skills. It gets much harder to learn new skills as your career goes further and further along. Now let me just give you the opposite. What other people might say is try to work on something that will turn into a paper, because papers are what matters. So that is another reasonable set of advice.
But not public. Are we drawing a distinction between papers and publications?
No, publications. Work on publications. That's the most important thing. The other thing I guess I would think about a little bit, and you don't have to decide this now, this will become more clear as you start to go, is this something where you want to try to finish this project by Friday? In which case, you should have realistic expectations that it's hard to do a publishable piece of research in 5 days. Unless you're Gary King, in which case you can do it in one day. Or is this something where you would imagine that you and your group will continue to collaborate after you leave, in which case then I think imagining a publication is a much more reasonable thing. And that would be totally cool with us if you all continue this after. Yep.
So I've been operating under the assumption that the projects are expected to be finished by Friday. Can you talk about what your
Finished. So
expectations are?
finished means you have something.
Okay.
In my mind, a finished project would be even something like we start to do something, we try it out, and we figured out it won't work. That would be a successful project, in my opinion. Another kind of sort of a deliverable you could imagine would be like a grant proposal to a foundation or a funding agency for a project that you want to do. Because some of the stuff that you want to do could be quite expensive. So if you spend 5 days working to write a proposal, that's like a reasonable amount of time to do a pretty good proposal. Yeah?
Can you ballpark how much money we will have from Turk or whatever resources there are?
Not yet. We are working on that. So there may be some funds that we could do for small pilot projects. We're trying to figure out how much that is. And we're also trying to figure out what would be the mechanism that we would use to distribute it. So if we are going to give funds out, we're going to ask for something like a mini proposal where you have to explain what you're going to do with them and so on. And we will know more about how much we will have by Monday. Or we'll have some more information by Monday, and we may not know exactly by Monday, but we were working on it. Yep.
So on that point,
Yeah.
I don't know if I get a vote, but I vote against going to New York if that has
Oh.
an impact on
For Sunday?
on the budget. Yeah.
Oh, let me clarify that that's a great point. Sunday is the day off, so that means you guys are on your own. You all will, so we're not organizing the trip to New York. You're also not going to eat in the dining hall those days. You are on your own, like, get out of here. I mean, you don't have to, but that's a day off. Okay? Any other questions about going forward? Fantastic.